This episode of the Stickers N Scuffs podcast has been brought to you by RE/MAX Jack. Jack provides a friendly, customer-driven service in search for homes and provides excellent details on the market, values, and trends in buying and selling. Jack has been able to work with Cam on his search and always makes himself available when he has a question. RE/MAX Jack will help you if you're looking to buy or sell a home within the GTA. He's who Cam K trusts to find his next home, and he should be yours too. Remember, call RE/MAX Jack and start to pack. For more information, go to remaxjack.ca.
Well, let me tell you something, brothers. It's time for the Stickers N Scuffs podcast. Cam K. Oh, yeah. Cam K with our fresh-looking Graydon Bunn there. Don't even recognize the man. We're all in Movember season. Well, most of us are. Our buddy BMO is here. Brent's back on the show with us. Brent, thank you so much for joining us. We've got...
No problem.
2022 Ontario Sportsman Series champ. The champ is here. Kevin Trevellin, how nice is it to hear that you are the champion?
It doesn't get old. Hasn't yet.
Well, obviously not. We talked about this at length. This was an amazing year for you. We started off a little interesting because it wasn't, you weren't coming off lighting the world on fire. And then all of a sudden mid-season came and it turned your entire season around. Let's hear about kind of how things went for you this season in the OSS series.
Again, like you said, the beginning of the season, we weren't really stellar. Just a little bit of kind of Trevellin luck, if you say, just car was decent, just the way it went. But then it just all turned around. We went to full throttle and we got a second place. And I guess that just put my confidence way, way up. When we hit Peterborough, the car was just absolutely perfect. And then the next week at Delaware, it just stuck. And wow, it still amazes me. And I still get goosebumps every once in a while just thinking about watching the videos over again.
Well, it was kind of amazing because Graydon, we were there for that Peterborough race, and it wasn't what we expect. We didn't expect to be in the positions that we were, being able to see you up front, winning the pole position, and then really, it kind of unheard of to be out there. You won pole, you led all the laps, you really kind of kicked everyone's ass, and then from GP3R, Graydon and I were watching on YouTube because you're on Rogers TV, and you did the exact same thing 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it whooped up on him again.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I didn't really do a lot. I did a little tweaking through, like, from last year to this year, just a little bit of changes. Mike McCall gave me some pointers on what to try and maybe where I was kind of maybe not going wrong, but when you have a platform and you work with it, and sometimes you just throw the whole thing away and start over, where all it needed maybe was a few fine-tune adjustments to get it where it needed. And that's kind of where I was. I'd go out there with a spring package and this combination, and I'd come home very frustrated and just start over with all different springs, just change everything. And I kind of landed on something I liked, and with talking to Mike, and he really kind of put me on steady ground. Just kind of said, maybe try a few smaller things this way, and the platform that I had really worked out for me, and it showed.
It did. And as Cam said, being there and seeing you put on the clinic that you did at Peterborough, a tough track in itself. The cars you guys run obviously are former CASCAR, NASCAR Pinty's chassis. So there is a fair amount of adjustability in them. How much do you guys tweak on them? And like you're saying, to the extent, like if you throw the kitchen sink at it and you're way out, like you have to go far back in your setup, like how do you adjust on them? Is it something fairly consistent all season long, or is it fairly drastic from a Delaware to a Peterborough, say?
Well, and again, once I found, when we left Peterborough and we got to Delaware, stagger had changed a little bit from as the races go on, you tend to not get, a lot of times you don't get close to the same stagger here, there, and everywhere.
Right.
But I never really made a lot of adjustments. I mean, I tweaked on the bar a little bit, the Panhard bar. I don't think I made much other than tire pressure, and everything I did responded the way I wanted it. And that's the season just from Peterborough on. I just made some tire pressure adjustments and some very fine minor adjustments from there.
Seemed to work just fine.
So when you're getting into the race weekend, what is do you have any rituals that you try to do before you go, or do you just focus in and just go at the race?
It's kind of funny. A lot of people ask me that, if I'm superstitious or if I have any rituals. I've been doing the same thing for so long. If you watch me, you probably watch and go, yeah, I do have some superstitions, or I have some, I do things the same. I load the car. I tie the pit cart down the same way. I load the car the same way. Ratchet 1, ratchet 2, everything is pretty much the same every time. And then, that's
repetition.
How it gets to there. When I get to the track, I kind of I don't know. It's almost like you don't think and you just work off instinct, because you feel what the car's doing. You know how to make a change, what it'll do. And I just kind of got it.
Second part of my question, though, real quick. So I know some drivers, and this might be old school, but some drivers like to do a walk around the track, right? Each year, right? We live in Canada, so the pavement or the asphalt gets hit hard by snow and ice. So new bumps, new cracks may appear. So your setup from a previous year may be obsolete by the time you go this year. Do you ever do a walk around the track?
I used to. I did. I really, especially if we got to a track that I had not been to before, which I think I've been everywhere now. I remember going to Mossport and my very first couple of times there with CASCAR. I had a very limited time, but I did walk the track really quick. I did at Barrie Speedway when it was open. When I get somewhere and I get the opportunity, I do walk the track, but schedules are pretty packed nowadays. So you don't really get a lot of time. You get out there, you might get run over.
Yeah.
It's funny because you brought it up, Kevin, and this is something you said. You've kind of been everywhere. We talked about the wins and kind of how overdue they were, and I don't want to age you or anything like that, Kev, but how long has it been that you've been involved in motorsports in Canada?
Well, okay. Growing up, my father was a mechanic, and he used to help some guys here and there in Checker Flag Speedway when it was open. Quite a few guys there. I think the last guy he helped was Serge Teslin, ran a checker flag, ran a little bit all over the place. And then kind of give it up because, I was young and father thing. But then when I wanted to start going, he would pick me up. We'd go to the races on the weekend on Saturday and go to Michigan Speedway all the time. When I got old enough, we got a car. I think I was 15. And that was, him and my dad and I, we just went all over, did car stuff and all these car stuff because.
So you went which way? We went Checkered Flag Speedway. How do you transition from Checkered Flag Speedway to CASCAR?
I went from street stocks. We ran street stocks there for like 4.5 years. And we decided that, well, I decided I wanted to do more. I went with the CASCAR. I went to a CASCAR event with Duke Sawchuk. He invited me to go along and I kind of fell in love with it. It was like the coolest thing I'd seen. It was NASCAR Canada. I mean, that's the kind of the way I looked at it. When I came home that weekend, I talked to my dad, we figured out what we could and couldn't do. We got a car. We didn't even have plans to run the whole season. The first year, we managed to pull all 10 races. I think it was 10 or 12. It was 12 races that year. And we did them all with not much.
It's as an equipment operator, I run lots of different things. And to Brent's point, the routine of certain things, it's something that you've done for such a long time, and I can relate to that. Is it just something, I mean, you never stop learning, I guess is what I'm saying, right, Kevin? I mean, you broke through and you found victory lane and you grabbed a championship. I mean, but you've been doing this for a long time. And as an equipment operator, I feel like you'll be doing something for so long and you'll just someday find some other little thing that just makes it faster, which I find kind of comparable to racing. Like you can do something so long and then something new comes into your toolbox, or you learn something from someone and it just helps or makes life that much easier.
For sure. I've had a lot of people out in and out of the pit crew. Some guys are like, oh, I'm going to come and help you. And we got great ideas. And again, sometimes that idea doesn't work with what you're doing. It pulls you off in a different direction. I always say that, setup stuff, you can't hybrid a setup. If, you listen to different people and tell you, well, I'm running this or running that, you either have to go with that or with this. Sometimes if you try to mix and match, it just doesn't work. And that's kind of where I was. And I knew what I wanted and I knew what the feel of the car I wanted. And, again, having a little bit of bad luck per se, just things happen, get taken out or get flat tires or the dumbest stuff would happen.
Yeah.
But this year, none of that. It was like all of it kind of, I hate to say it, but karma kind of made up for it all this year.
It all just works sometimes, right? And it feels so damn good.
Yeah.
Mike, next question for you.
For
Kevin.
sure. I mean, I was contemplating that the end of 22 was going to be the end of my driving career. I was getting to the point where I was like, am I really, is this really worth doing anymore? And I guess it is.
Well, I was there for the final race. I filled in for Cam at Flying Barrel, and Mark got me into the media section so I could be right there. And when you got that champagne, you had the biggest smile on your face. I actually had to dodge the champagne because you sprayed it everywhere. But my question for you though is, with a lot of young people getting into motorsports, they watch it on TV or in movies or not, but their first taste to anything close to it is a racing game, more specifically like a racing simulator such as iRacing. Have you ever considered using iRacing, or have you used iRacing to hone in your skills more during the off season or off weekends?
I have not even. I again, we get back to that technical stuff. I am not very technical when it comes to. I'm surprised we got the the Zoom thing working. Be honest with you.
If there's hope for you or hope for me, there's hope for you, but don't worry.
As far as the iRacing, nobody I know has a rig. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but a video game isn't the same as sitting in the car and doing the real thing. I mean, I've been doing this for like since I was 14, and there's nothing beats sitting in the seat, putting on the steering wheel, strapping the helmet and the belts, and going. Because that you can't simulate jumping out of an airplane. It's just a rush. It's the whole thing that you just can't simulate. I'm sorry. I know I'm going to catch a little bit of heat for that one.
The folks at iFly might disagree with you, but iFly, if you want to sponsor somebody, I mean, right here, Kevin Trevellin talking that there's no new experience, so I think we're gonna have to try.
I'm always open for new stuff, though. It's not. I've never said it was not. It's just nothing that I've done.
No, you're so right, though. There's no replacing the ass of the pants feel.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm curious though, Kev, because you've raced different types of cars, right? So. Obviously you've got your OSS car, you've got your super stock, you've driven dirt as well. How are you able to adapt to do different things? Like how comparable? One thing that we hear a lot is that the late models are not comparable at all to say a Pinty's car. But obviously you're in an OSS car, which is obviously the most comparable, considering they're pretty much the same. But what is the super stock? How close is that? Because that's what we have heard is the closest comparison compared to a late model, which is, they say, completely different.
Yeah, so late model has a lot, like their center of gravity is very low. The super stocks are actually a lot higher than OSS or Pinty's would be. So yeah, it's a lot more comparable to what an OSS or a Pinty's car would be as opposed to a late model. But the late model is pretty stellar. I mean, it's a lot quicker than all of that. So if you can get, like, if you're good in a late model, and like I think Ray Morneau did that, you know, he's very quick in his late model. Getting into a Pinty's car where it's a little bit, it's, you know, the tires aren't as big. It's, you know, there's more horsepower, but the center of gravity height's different. They just drive a little different. They're a little like top heavy, if you say. So he adapted very well to that, and I've done a lot of different, like, as you say, different stuff. It's funny because I've been out at Buxton, Southern Ontario Motor Speedway. I build a few dirt cars, help out a lot of people out there. When I got into that thing, into a Thunderstock, which should be a little closer, I kind of struggled for a while. It's the whole technique of dirt racing. I mean, I'm still asphalt racing out there, and it's just not the thing to do. I finally started getting it, and then when our race come up, I was just kind of my rental car kind of took a lot of focus, but it was still a lot of fun.
You're sitting right in your shop there right now, Kevin. There is an off season allegedly, but what do you got working on? What are you working on in your shop right now?
I have my super stock in the shop right now. I just put a front clip on it. We're getting ready to paint it. It's actually, I do want to try and sell this chassis. We want to build a brand new one, like one off of Trevco jig. And I do have a long list of cars to repair. I have Lloyd Rawlings just messaged me today. He was interested in having me put a cage in a bone stock for his son, and I have a lot of stuff lined up, which for me helps get my cars built and down the road during the summer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's got to help the pocketbook and keeping the car on track and stuff. Do you you get into like frame straightening and that sort of stuff, and like reclipping all the fab work and that sort of stuff too, eh?
I have my own jig. I mean, I work a 10-hour shift every day. Luckily, my shop is my work.
Nice.
My boss allows me to, I mean, I go clock out, I come right back into the other half of the shop and work on the race cars.
Nice.
So yes, I have my own jig. I have my own benders and most of the stuff I kind of had to when I was younger, because, I dealt with some other people and I was like, ooh, if I'm going to keep doing this, I better figure out how to fix it myself. So I just got into it more and more. And in the last 6 to 8 years, I started getting confident enough where I could do it for other people. And now I'm just busy all the time.
Well, that's a good problem to have. Nice.
My next question for you there, Kevin. So since you are now the current reigning champion of OSS, has any new doors opened for you, like any new sponsorships or anything like that? Or is it same mental focus for next season?
Everybody that was on my car from last season is committed to being back on for 23. Everybody wants to step up and make sure that we have for that car what we need to try to defend the title again. At this point with my super stock, we're just going to get it together and kind of like where we started a few years ago. We're just going to go out and have some fun and see what comes about. I am working on some stuff, nothing solid at the moment, but we're knocking on doors. It does help to have the championship to say, this is what we done. This is what we got. We want to move forward with something bigger and better. And it does help.
For sure.
One of the things that we absolutely love about, I really love about the OSS series is that you got all different types of models of cars. You've got, you run a Charger, which I love seeing out there. We got guys running. The Patricks have a chassis that's older than I am that they go out and run, yes. and that's really, I feel like it. I miss that about the Pinty series is that they don't allow. I'd love to go see somebody rocking a 2003 Grand Prix out on the Pinty's track. You what I really love is that you go and to see these guys out there. Patrick's do it as well. You do it. They're pulling the trailer, just an open trailer on the back of the truck, and you tow it with your tires and your pit box all together as one little crew. Sometimes you're all by yourself there. Sometimes if you got some help. OSS is it's a really different animal compared to the Pinty series.
Yes.
So for those that don't know it, can you put into a couple words what the OSS series is?
Okay. Well, I tell other guys that are coming up, it's an inexpensive touring division. You don't need a big pit crew. You don't need to have, large money. You don't need to have all the top equipment. I kind of proved that this year. You can do it on a small budget. We have a tire rule. So many tires, I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but there is a limit on tires. It's fun. It's not stressful. The races are spaced out enough. They're 100 laps. You don't have to, unless you have a problem, you don't make a pit stop for any reason or whatsoever. It's definitely a good step up from like a weekly race to if you enjoy touring without the huge financial budget.
So what we like about it, it's got the roots, man. It's Cascar Sportsman to now the Ontario Sportsman series. We've talked about it countless times, and we'll constantly talk about how it would be a perfect stepping stone to the Pinty series, considering the cars are so similar. And the fact that these cars have history. I'm curious, Kevin, I know you've mentioned to me before, but where your car came from.
My particular car that I'm racing now was owned by Ron O'Brien, and it raced at Delaware Speedway when Delaware was running the Cascar Sportsman cars. It had multiple different I think Scott Lindsay drove it. I'm not sure if Sean Dupey was in it, but I think they had they had two cars in there. But when I got my car, it was a full Dodge. It had a Dodge engine, Dodge body. It was full Dodge, and I ran it as a full Dodge for quite a while. But the crate motors are just so cheap to maintain and operate. So when my engine needed a rebuild, it was kind of no brainer at the time. But she used to be a Dodge all the way. But it ran at Delaware. I think it won a few championships at Delaware too, with different drivers in it.
To kind of bring it full circle, as you said, you and your car kind of started in like the Cascar roots and that sort of thing. And to fast forward to this summer, to bring home a couple of trophies, arguably long overdue. But I mean, you fought the good fight for many, many years, and it just, the story kind of came together or the season, I should say, came together as sort of a Cinderella like storybook ending for you, where you knocked off a couple of wins and brought home the big trophy at the end of the season. What does it mean to you as a racer? Like in the Kevin Trevellin story, how does that add up this season?
Well, like I said, it was, I mean, I was contemplating at the end of the season, maybe, kind of retiring as a driver.
Yes, especially due to that fact.
Yeah, it just, it's been a long time since I got a win, and really, was okay. I ran okay all the time. Top five, whatever. And when at the end of the season, it was like, wow, I know, I mean, you're any racer that leaves the shop, it doesn't matter. You leave the shop thinking, I'm going to win today. Yeah. I'm going to put it on the podium. Or why would you leave? You get to the racetrack and you get what you get. And after practice or qualifying, you're like, okay, well, let's just get what we get today and we'll move on forward. And that's kind of where I was. But the end of this season, it's just rejuvenated me so much. I mean, I got some big plans for next year, and I'm working really hard to get them to fulfill some of those plans. And I hope we can get it all worked out, because I think I hit, when I hit 50, I got my second win in life, man. I'm just ready to go.
Nice, man. That's good. That's encouraging for guys like me. Oh, and before we pass it on to Brent one more time, there was a young rookie race commentator that got to call you home on your first win there too, eh?
Yeah, that was pretty cool for him as well. I mean, he was as excited as I was.
Yeah, he was a little bit tearful. Night. He was a little bit tearful for both reasons.
I had to bring it up, man, because that was a pretty cool night.
I'm trying not to cry. I'm trying not to cry on the microphone as I'm trying to say that Kevin got his first win. Right?
That was badass.
That whole stuff still gives me goosebumps even right now. It's really cool.
Yeah, man, standing in victory lane with you with the clock and oh my God, man, that was so neat. What a good
shout
night.
Out to SWC clocks. Great initiative that we've got. SWC,
definitely
part of the OSS.
That was definitely a cool item. When you win, you get a clock to. It was really cool. It's a cool thing. Now at Flamborough, I tell you, when we come at the second race, when we come across the finish line and I come up behind Connor, he's in victory lane in my car, one of my cars. I had so much emotion and I was so excited that if you'd asked me my name, I'd have probably give you something wrong, because I messed up all my sponsors so bad and they still make fun of me right now. I have one on the back. It's a powder coating, Holland Works powder coating. If you listen to the video, I called them Holland Oats. The other day I asked him if he'd sing a song for me. So yeah. Shock Pros, I said Shock. I don't know what if you go through it, there wasn't one sponsor that I didn't mess up. And I was so excited, and I was like, I wouldn't have remembered my name. It was crazy. and then again, like the purple car all season has just been one of those, like, why did we do this? Why did we have that car? It was just, and nobody's fault of any, it was nobody's fault. The car just had a lot of issues. And then for it to win a race, and it was just the best day for me. All the accomplishments all came together. Yeah.
Well, my final question for you, Kevin, is for younger people who are trying to get into the sport, no matter if it's dirt, asphalt, road racing, what do they need to have inside them to pursue this career? My question is like that. Like, do they just need? I know some people say, "Oh, it's a rich sport. You need money," but money can only go so far. There's talent. What do you, when you see a young driver on the track running their first few hot laps, what do you see in their eyes that you go, that person's going to make it?
You need ambition. You need a little bit of drive, because this sport will kick you down so bad you'll wonder why you get out of bed. And if you really love this and you really want to do this, you have to persevere. It only took 30 years. So hopefully not for the next young guy, but if someone coming in wants to, hook up with a team, find somebody that'll let you crew, learn. There's never a stupid question. You got to learn what's what and how things work. And if you want to drive, you've got to know what, how to put the wheel on, make sure it don't fall off, and make sure your parts don't fall off, and be safe in the car, and ask, talk to somebody, talk to a veteran driver. Don't be shy. If you really want to get in a car or you really want to be a pit crew member, don't be shy. Ask. Not many of us out there will say no.
It's true.
Whew. Man, that's some good veteran talk right there, eh?
Yeah.
I was really hoping that when we did call that win, that when me and Charlie were able to call that win, that I could have had a Mike Joy moment. So here it is. Because after all that time, I have finally got down the line that I should have said, which is 30 years of trying, 30 years of frustration. Kevin Trevellin will come to the checkered flag to win in the Ontario Sportsman Series. Boom! There it is. Not just Kevin Trevellin will win. That was an awful call. I had to redeem myself. Kevin, you mentioned forgetting all of your sponsors' names. Now you get the opportunity to shout them all out because they were able to be behind you for a championship season.
Well, my top sponsor is where I work. I mean, Garrett Hendry and his wife Carrie at Shock Pros Motorsports. I've been here for 6 years now, and he allows me to do all my crazy race car stuff here. We jab each other with digs and back and forth, but it's been great. Carrie Morrison, his wife, she sells real estate. She's on the car. I have top level builders. They build great pole barns. They built the building we're in and the other building for the Boss's Toys. John and his group, they come on. They've been excellent. He's a car guy. He thought he'd come to the dirt race when we went, and he's been like on board 100%. Leisure Trailers, they've been on my car for good 10 years now. That group of people are awesome. It's a big family there. Anytime I go there, it's like, I'm one of the family as well. So big shout out to Jim and all those people there. Wes Belanger Incorporated, he come aboard this year for about the same time as Top Level. Everything's been pretty cool with them. He's another big car guy. He likes to do track day stuff with his Mercedes and stuff. It's pretty cool. Holland Work, I got it right this time. He doesn't sing, but he does great powder coating. He does all our powder coating here at work, and it's been a lot of fun. Everybody, we all get to when we all see each other, they all kind of come and stop by the shop here when I'm working, and we all kind of jab each other about who's the best racer and all this kind of stuff. It's all fun. It's it's a little bit more than just sponsorship. We're all big, we're all buddies, and we're all big car guys, and just love this stuff. It's all really good.
Well, Kevin Trevellin, the 2022 Ontario Sportsman Series champion, want to thank you for coming on the show and doing such a great job this year. I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch you battle, and it came right down to that last race between you and Michael Herniak Jr. and the fact that you guys all posed with you, Herniak and Chad McGlynn all posed together with the championship afterwards. It's such a family atmosphere. We absolutely love the OSS series. So we're proud to say that we will be featured on Kevin's cars this year as Kevin has joined the SNS roster for 2023. And we're really, really pumped to be on there, and we're expecting a season sweep of every race. So,
okay, no problem. And you guys do a lot for the sport, and thank you for coming and being a part of the OSS and trying to make it bigger and better. You guys do a lot, and it's great.
Well, I mean, we'll hopefully do more. We've got our good buddy now, Bimo. Brent's going to be out there, going to be helping us get some OSS content as well. And GB and myself definitely want to be out there and continue to talk praises of this OSS series, because there's a lot of future and potential there. And like you said, it's 30 years, man. That's a long time to work for it and to get that championship, man. And I was gonna
rep the middle-aged folk, buddy.
I mean, I was only 1 year old when you started in racing, so that's it's nice to see that the veteran presence, getting to see you up there, Mark Patrick up there, this series, their age is it's not a problem, man. And
it's like
so anytime anybody stop by, ask me for a story. I've got a lot. There's always a good one.
I was just gonna say, fellow racer Lewis Hamilton, right? He always says never give up, right? So
never give up.
Never give up. Never give up. You never know what's going to happen.
That's a great
2 laps down, but just don't give up. You never know. You could come back 2 laps and win that race. Don't give up.
Very true. Very true. Great statement to end the podcast on. Kevin Trevellin, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining us on the Stickers and Scuffs podcast.